Yes, what's the story, lads? Welcome back to GA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I hope the form is good. I hope the form as well. And this is the club preview for all this weekend's games taking place in both the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship and the All-Ireland Club Senior Hurling Championship. Things are really beginning to spice up now in both football and hurling championships. We've got two provincial finals taking place in the hurling action this weekend. We've got the Ulster final and we've also got the Leinster final taking place as well. But of course, we also have some crunch games taking place in the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship, the Leinster Club Senior Football Championship, and the Munster Club Senior Football Championship. 6 games to run through, semi-finals in either province to discuss as well. Things are getting very interesting, and if you love this kind of content, if you enjoy the club action, you love the club games, you love keeping up with all the information around the club games, do leave a like and subscribe. We do shows, club review, club preview shows on both Mondays and Thursdays. There was no show out Monday. I was away in Liverpool for the weekend, so just recovering a little bit from a hangover and didn't see any of the action, unfortunately, at the weekend until the last few days. But nonetheless, we're going to run through this weekend's games, and we have some cracking games taking place, as I said before. And where better to start with Watty Glen taking on Kilcoo. Oh boy, I mean, if you're excited for this game, smash the like button. Let me know down in the comments below what your prediction is for this game, because this might just be the two best teams in the country, the two best clubs going up against each other in the country, playing each other in an Ulster club semi-final. I mean, you could take either one of these two out of the province, maybe put them into another province, and who knows, maybe these two would eventually meet each other in an All-Ireland final. But as the nature of Ulster football in recent seasons, it's no different in the inter-county game, and it's no different in the club game. There are so many very good club teams in Ulster down the years, and Watty Glen have burst onto the scene in 2021. Originally, I didn't really buy the hype too much, or maybe not so much I didn't buy into the hype, but I didn't know enough about them. I hadn't seen enough about them, hadn't seen enough of them in the Derry Club Senior Football Championship. And like a lot of things in life, sometimes there's a lot of hype around things, a lot of hype around players, clubs, teams, whatever. And sometimes, I'd rather see for my own eyes whether the hype is real or not, and I'd rather see them against the top team and produce against the top team before I buy into that hype. And against Scottstown, they very much delivered, in my opinion. 118 to 12 point victory, absolutely outstanding. Probably the best midfield pairing left in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship at the minute, in the likes of Emmett Bradley and Conor Glass. And you would have to say that Watty Glen have absolutely killed it so far. I mean, the hype is real. You'd have to buy into it at this stage. They are serious contenders for the All-Ireland. And in the 8 games that they have played, 8 championship games they have played in 2021, 6 games in Derry, 2 games in Ulster, they've scored a total of 11 goals and 147 points. An extraordinary amount of goals and points right there. And their average winning margin is 11.6 points per game. So they've won their games on an average scoreline of 11 points in every game they've played so far this year, which probably tells you how convincingly they've been beating teams. And they've won a lot of their games in the Derry Senior Football Championship by 20 plus points, 15 plus points. So they have looked very dominant in a lot of the games they are playing. But of course, they're coming up against Kilcoo, the great Kilcoo team that we all very well know, the side that went all the way to the All-Ireland final in 2020. I nearly said 2019, but it was the 2019-2020 season, if you like. They came through Down in 2019, they came through Ulster, they beat Ballyhale and St Enda's and went all the way to the All-Ireland final, and nearly beat Corofin as well. They were beaten in extra time. It was a very close game. They got a lot of their matchups right and nearly pulled off the big shock and won an All-Ireland for the very first time in the club's history. So they're the experienced side. They're coming in with the know-how. They know how to win these games. They know how to get through these tough battles. They know how to shut down teams. They know how to shut down some of the teams that they've come up against, best players. And you've seen that against Ballyboden when they limited Calm and Ryan Baskell in that semi-final a couple of years ago. They stopped Corofin from playing their fluent and dynamic football that they usually play as well. And just some stats here on Kilcoo, which I found interesting. So, of their last 25 games that they've played, going back since the start of that 2019 season, they've won 22 of their last 25 games. One of the defeats was obviously against Corofin. They had a draw in there that went to a replay, which they won, and another defeat last year against Warrenpoint in the Down Senior Football Championship in a group stage game, I believe it was, and obviously they still went on to win the Down Senior Football Championship in 2020. They've used more players than anyone else in their squad, which shows the depth that they have in their squad and the fact that management know their squad very, very well. They make an average of 5 to 6 substitutes per game, more substitutes than any other side left in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship. They have an average winning margin of 4.1 points, so a little bit different to Watty Graham's Glen there, a little bit less, I suppose you could say, and they've scored 10 goals and 71 points across just 6 games, so 2 games less than Watty Graham's Glen that time around, obviously playing in the Down Senior Football Championship. 5 of those games in the Down Senior Football Championship, 1 of them in Ulster. So Kilcoo probably not as high scoring as Watty Graham's Glen, but you could argue the point that maybe the Down Senior Football Championship is a lot more competitive than the Derry Senior Football Championship. When I was looking back through, when I was making these stats, I was having a look back through some of the scores in the Derry Senior Football Championship, and there was a lot of very one-sided games, not just for Watty Graham's Glen. I mean, a lot of 15, 20-point victories, even some 30-point victories in there as well. So I'm sure, someone in Derry will have to look at that at some stage. But look, going back to Kilcoo, they know how to grind games out. They know how to grind wins out. And the Ramor United victory might have been a turning point because it was actually their biggest win of the season, an 11-point victory. That was their biggest win of the season so far. And it might have been maybe in that second half where they clicked. In the first half, they still looked a little bit sluggish at times. Start of the second half, you felt like Ramor United had them under the cosh a bit. But at the end of the game, in the final 20 to 25 minutes, they really did click. And obviously, Jerome Johnson, fantastic. Ryan Johnson in there as well. Paul Devlin chipping away with a couple of points going forward. And the work rate of Eugene Brannigan, I think, is going to be interesting. And I think the midfield battle between these two is going to be what's most fascinating in my opinion, because you've got Eugene Brannigan who likes to drift around the midfield. You've got Emmett Bradley and Conor Glass of Watty Graham's Glen. So, I mean, that is going to be extremely fascinating as well. And whilst a lot of people will look at Watty Graham's Glen in terms of their attack and in terms of what they can produce going forward and the amount of different scores that they usually have in a lot of their games, defensively they've been very impressive so far this year as well. 4 goals and 63 points conceded throughout their 8 championship games, in my opinion, is a good tally to have. They didn't concede any goals against Scottstown in that game. They conceded 1 goal against St. Eunan's, but 1-4 in total was what they conceded that day. So generally they've been very, very good defensively. They shut out Slot Neil in that Derry Senior Football Championship final as well. So look, I think in terms of this game, whoever comes through this, in my opinion, will probably win the All-Ireland. I think the momentum that they will carry going into an Ulster final and then into the All-Ireland series, for me, will be huge. And I think for Watty Graham's Glen, they've had a lot of hype around them this year. They have a tremendous amount of talent all across the pitch. And obviously a very experienced manager in Malachy O'Rourke. I think they're going to win this game. I really do. Like, Kilcoo nearly got caught once or twice in Down this year. I do think they are beatable. There's some flaws in their sides. There's times in games, 10 to 15 minutes here or there, where they kind of shut off and allow other teams to come in. And looking at Watty Graham's Glen, they're very, very ruthless. They take a lot of the chances that they get. They're brilliant in front of goal in terms of kicking points. They've scored a high number of goals and points as well. And they're a side that doesn't look like they know how to get beat, if that makes sense. They don't look like a team that is going to get beat anytime soon. So I think Watty Graham's Glen are going to pull off the win. Maybe that's an upset in some people's eyes, because a lot of people would look at Kilcoo for the experience. But I do have to, say, you have to remember the fact that when Kilcoo came through Ulster in 2019, it was the very first time that they done so. So they're not across McGlen just yet, in my opinion. They might be on track to do so, but I think this is a huge, huge test, and it might be a little bit early for a side like Kilcoo to get Watty Graham's Glen as well. Maybe they need a few more games to kind of build up a bit of momentum, build up a bit of steam as well, whereas Watty Graham's Glen have probably been tested already a bit more than Kilcoo. So yeah, I'm going to go with Watty Graham's Glen to get the victory by 4 points. I think I'll go with. Hopefully this isn't overly tactical. Hopefully this is an entertaining game. It's interesting. And a bit amazing that this game won't be shown on live TV. I know TG Cahir are shown the deferred game, but again, very frustrating that a lot of the big club games this year, for whatever reason, haven't been shown on TV. And maybe someone smarter than me can let me know down in the comments below. I understand a lot of counties want to make more money by streaming it on their own platforms, and provincial councils probably are looking at this and thinking, if we put this on Ulster GAA TV, we'll make a lot more money than we sell our broadcasting rights to TG Ceathair. But I just don't think that's fair on the consumer. I don't think that's fair on the fan. And it's a little bit disappointing that probably the biggest club game of the year in both football and hurling, in my opinion, is not being shown on live TV. Leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but sure, look, the game is being deferred, so you can bet there will be a match reaction after the deferred game, after the deferred version on Sunday. So yeah, Watty Glen, I think they're going to win this one by 4 points. The other semi-final is Derry Gonley Harps of Fermanagh against Clan Éireann of Armagh. Derry Gonley Harps are looking to reach their first ever Ulster Club Senior Football Championship. 2002 was the last time a Fermanagh side done so, and that was Enniskillen who came through the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship, or came to the final anyways. No side from Fermanagh has ever won the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship before. So a lot on the line for Derry Gonley Harps, and they're coming up against a Clan Éireann side who are competing in the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship for their very first time. They came through Armagh, beating Crossmaglen Rangers for the very first time in I think 50 or 60 odd years. And the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship wasn't around back then when Clan Éireann came through Armagh. So a big game for either side, a bit of history on the line here for whatever side can come through this game. Derry Gonley, I mean, I don't know a huge deal about them, but the fact that they went and beat a side like Dromore and have county players in there like Conal Jones and Ronan Jones, they're a side that knows how to win. They're a team that knows how to win matches. And I actually have a sneaky feeling that they're going to pull off the upset here and beat this Clan Éireann side. And maybe that might be a bit of a surprise in some people's eyes. Like Clan Éireann have inter-county stars like Conor Turby, Tiernan Kelly, Jack Conlon's a good up-and-coming player at the minute as well. But I think for Derry Gonley, they're a team that's used to winning. Like I think they've won 6 out of the last 7 Fermanagh Senior Football Championships. They've been knocking on the door in Ulster here and there. They haven't got to a final yet, but they've been getting to semi-finals, quarter-finals. They've been waiting to make that big step, and the fact they came through a team like Dromore, for me, gives me confidence that they can beat a side like Clan Éireann. And we've seen a lot of club shocks already this year. We've seen a lot of surprises. We've seen a lot of big moments, and that's what just leads me to believe that Derry Gonley are going to pull off the shock. I mean, Clan Éireann, as I said before, probably on paper have the better team, but I just think Derry Gonley are going to produce a little bit of a surprise here and get to the Ulster Club Senior Football Championship. It will be the first time that they've ever made an Ulster Club Senior Football Championship, and it would be the first time a Fermanagh side has done so since 2002. So, a lot on the line here for either side. Clan Éireann will be the favourites, but I'm going to go with the upset. Derry Gonley will sneak it in extra time by a point. We then have 2 games in the Leinster Club Senior Football Championship, and interesting enough, both of these 2 games are at Croke Park. So a huge occasion for both Naas and Shelmaliers, and also a huge occasion for Kilmacud Crokes and Port Arlington. And brilliant that these games can be in Croke Park for either side, so they get the experience of playing in Croke Park, and great for fans, spectators, and a brilliant advertisement for club football, the fact that these matches are being played in Croke Park. And I know some people were saying maybe they should play all the provincial finals in Croke Park. I mean, I'm not too sure if they're going to do that. There's some rumours that maybe they will do that. I'm not too sure if they can manage to do that, especially with the whole worldwide landscape at the minute, but we'll see what happens, obviously, when that comes around. But in terms of these games, Naas versus Shelmaliers, first of all, look, Naas are coming in with a lot of momentum. They've 12 goals in the 8 games that they've played so far this year in both the Kildare and Leinster Club Senior Football Championship. 6 of them goals have come in the last 2 matches, which show that they've a lot of momentum. 4 goals in that win over Blessington. They absolutely put them to the sword. They're a very attacking team, free-flowing, running off the shoulder, play very high up the pitch as well. And I think the fact that a star like Dara Kirwan, I mean, I know he's struggled with injuries and whatnot in 2021, and maybe that's the reason why he's not starting for Naas, but I think the fact that he's probably one of Kildare's best up-and-coming prospects, in my opinion. Had a very good year in 2020 and 2021 as well. So the fact that he isn't starting for this club side in Naas, and they're still doing as well as they are, probably shows me that they have a lot of very, very good players coming through the ranks at the minute. You would have to say, though, it probably is a step too far for Shelmaliers of Wexford. Like, to get that win over Naomh Martin was a big shock, in my opinion. I think a lot of people, including myself, maybe bought into the Naomh Martin hype, maybe a bit too much after how convincingly they defeated Rathvilly of Carlow. Owen Nolan and Ross Banville are 2 players who stand out there. Owen Nolan's one of the most notable players on the Wexford county side. And look, maybe the quality of football in Wexford is improving more than we think, and maybe that is one of the reasons why they were able to turn over a side like Nave Martin. But I just don't see how they're going to, I suppose, shut out Naas in the same way that they shut Nave Martin. Now, I think they've more to deal with here. They've more attacking players to deal with. So, yeah, I think Naas will have enough here, especially with it being in Croke Park as well. I think they'll flourish in Croke Park. Their attacking style will suit them. So I think they'll win it by 6 points. You've got Kilcoo Crokes going up against Port Arlington. Port Arlington of Laois. What a day for Port Arlington. A huge occasion for them playing in Croke Park for what I'd imagine is the first time in their history, at least at senior championship level. Anyways, well, it must be because I think this is the first time they're ever playing in the Laois Club Senior Football Championship. Maybe they've played in Croke Park and other codes or other grades or whatever, but in terms of the Senior Leinster Club Senior Football Championship, a huge occasion for them. And I suppose in a similar fashion to what we said about Naas, Port Arlington are very good at blitzing teams so far this year. In fact, 75% of Port Arlington's goals and points have come in the first quarter of knockout games in 2021. So that tells you how good they are at blowing teams away. They actually scored 1-6 inside the first quarter against St. Lomans. The only kind of problem for Port Arlington has been in the second half of matches. Obviously, you can tell they're scoring quite a lot in the first quarter. The majority of their points and goals in the first quarter. It's been, can they improve a bit more in the second half and beyond that? And they have a whole host of different scores as well, like 9 different scores in their game versus St. Lomans. There isn't too many inter-county stars that I'd be familiar with, but the fact they have 9 different scores against St. Lomans shows me that they have a lot of players to get on the score sheet, making very good use of their squad, and that will be something that they'll need to use very brightly against Kilcoo Crokes. But I think the main question for Port Arlington, and the main question really for, it was the same question that Wolf Tones had, or I suppose question they had to answer, is obviously how to deal with Paul Mannion. How do you stop Paul Mannion? Because he is probably the best player left in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship, in my opinion anyways. He's probably the most informed player as well, and the fact that he obviously doesn't have the Dublin senior footballers to worry about, it doesn't look like he's going to be returning to Dublin anytime soon. The main question is, how are they going to stop him? How are they going to deal with him? Paul Mannion has scored 14 points in his last 3 games in the All-Ireland Club Senior Football Championship, one of them being in Leinster and the other 2 being in the Dublin Senior Football Championship. So 14 points in his last 3 games, 10 of which have been from play. And maybe you'd look at that tally and think, God, isn't too high. But let's not forget, in these club games, sometimes a lot of them are very low scoring because of the conditions, and also with the fact that we play 10 minutes less. And like you've seen in that Wolf Tones game, in my opinion, Paul Mannion drifting so deep, 30-40 yards. Wolf Tones were sitting very deep. They were thinking, we'll allow Paul Mannion to shoot from so far out, and I think we'll be okay with him shooting from that far out. But we've seen he was able to score from 30-40 yards out. So that's the thing for Port Arlington. For me, I don't think they should sit back and defend and worry too much about Mannion. I think they need to worry about their own game, and they need to worry about their strengths, because you can put so much focus on stopping Mannion that you forget, what you're actually good at that got you here in the first place. And I think, like with Kilcoo Crokes, they do have other good players in there, like Dan O'Brien, good up-and-coming young player, Darragh Mullen, very experienced club player, and Craig Diaz, and a lot of the very notable Kilcoo Crokes players that are already in there. But I think they need to focus on what they can do, and I do feel like if they focus on their own strengths, focus on their attack and play, focus on getting after Kilcoo Crokes, which can have a couple of defensive issues at times, I could see them causing problems, and I could see this game being a lot closer than we think. But I think with Paul Mannion there, and I think with the fact that he is going to take up someone, ultimately though, I think with Kilcoo Crokes and Paul Mannion's influence and some of the other players as well, I just don't see anything other than a Kilcoo Crokes win. I think they should have enough here. So I think they'll win it by 3 points. And then moving across to the Munster Club Senior Football Championship, we're moving down to the Munster Club Senior Football Championship. We have 2 games taking place here. We've Newcastle West against Austin Stacks. Newcastle West of Limerick coming into this game, obviously having beating the Nor of Waterford in the quarterfinals, and Austin Stacks are coming into this game on the back of their victory over Cairns O'Rahilly's in the Kerry Club Senior Football Championship. Look, it doesn't take a genius to work out who is the favourite here. Austin Stacks are a massive favourites. It's been a long time since a Limerick-based club made a Munster final. 1996 was actually the last time a Limerick-based club made a Munster final. And interesting enough, it was actually Newcastle West, funny enough, who made the Munster club final. And a bit of an omen, the side that they played was St Finbarrs, and that was also the last time that St Finbarrs played in a Munster club final. So for those of you who don't know, I mean, we'll get onto it in a minute. St Finbarrs are the other side in this Munster club semi-final pairing. So maybe a bit of a good omen for Newcastle West to go and pull off a magical shock, beating Kieran Donaghy and Sport Austin Stack's team. But to be honest, like I just don't see it. I haven't seen enough of Newcastle West really to make a bold prediction and say they'd win this game. I'd imagine with the teams that Austin Stacks have beaten so far this year, with the players that they've shut out in David Clifford of East Kerry, beating Kenmare Shamrocks in the Club Football Championship final, beating Kerrans O'Rahilly's in the final as well. Like, I feel like they'll find a way to win this game. And I still feel like they're the team to beat in Munster. In my opinion, I think they have the best defence. They have the most experience as well, more than any of the other teams. So I think they'll have enough here, and I think they should come through by 6 points. And as I was saying before, 1996 was the last time that St Finbarrs made a Munster club final. So a lot on the line for them going up against Éire Óg Ennis in the other game in the Munster club semi-final. Can Éire Óg curb the influence of Stephen Sherlock? I mean, that will be the big talking point, it must be said. And Éire Óg are looking to make a Munster final for the first time in their history. I believe it was who was the last team who made it? I probably should have checked that. I think it was Milltown Malbay, the last Clare team, who made the Munster club final. So a lot on the line here. And look, Éire Óg Ennis are coming into this maybe with a bit of confidence, having seen off Loughmore Castleiney. Coming through the Clare Senior Football Championships as well. A lot of talent, a lot of players in there. And St Finbarrs, one of their most notable players is Stephen Sherlock, who, I'd be surprised if he wasn't called up to the county panel at some stage. He's looking very bright and very good at the minute as well. So I think this game is really, really in the balance, and I'm going to go for a surprise. I'm going to go for a shock. I think Éire Óg Ennis are going to have enough here to pull through. I think St Finbarrs have put a lot into coming through the Cork Senior Football Championship, beating the likes of Castlehaven on penalties and whatnot. So I think they'll have enough, Éire Óg Ennis. And look, it's a bit of a shock, it's a bit of a surprise result maybe to predict, but I just have a sneaky feeling that they'll go and pull off the upset. So yeah, I'm going to go for Éire Óg Ennis to win it by 2 points. And we move on to the hurling action, and we've 2 games taking place in the All-Ireland Club Senior Hurling Championship and 2 provincial finals. We're going right down to the wire now. We've got the Ulster final and we have got the Leinster final. And we'll start with the Leinster final. Clough Ballacolla of Laois against Ballyhale Shamrocks of Kilkenny. I think a lot of people would have been expecting this to be Kilmacud Crokes, given some of the players that they have, but it's not the first time that a Laois team has upset a Dublin team, or well, I suppose it was the Laois hurlers, the Laois senior hurlers who beat Dublin not too long ago. And look, Clough Ballacolla, they're the real deal. They're a very, very good team. Stephen Picky Marr, 5 goals and 72 points so far in 2021 for Clough Ballacolla. And look, can they complete the fairy tale story? They had never won a game in the Leinster Club Senior Hurling Championship before 2021. They've now gone and put 2 wins back to back together, one over Apparees, the other over Kilmacud Crokes. And with Willie Hyland in there, Willie Dunphy, very solid team. They know what they have to do. They know how to win games. They've found a way to win a lot of their games so far this year. Very explosive at different times versus Kilmacud Crokes as well. And Owen Doyle in defence looks like a serious find in there for that team as well. So, I mean, can they do it? Can they pull off the shock, the upset, the big surprise? I mean, it's not impossible. Ballyhale Shamrocks haven't exactly shot the lights out in 2021, you'd have to say. They haven't been brilliant. They haven't been amazing so far. They've faced some tough teams, you would have to say, like Mount Leinster Rangers are a good team. St. Ryan's are a good team. Obviously, some of the teams they've played in Kilkenny are very impressive as well. So they haven't exactly shot the lights out, but they have faced some tough opposition and some tough teams. And I think for Ballyhale Shamrocks, I do feel like a big performance where they absolutely blow a team away is going to come at some point. Maybe it will happen in an All-Ireland semi-final, maybe in an All-Ireland final. Don't know if it will happen in this game, but I do think they'll win the game. I think surely they have enough there to come through this. Ballyhale are the type of side that they've found an answer to any team they've played really over the past 4 or 5 years. And I think they'll have an answer to Clough Ballacolla as well. Look, fair play to Clough Ballacolla. Clough Ballacolla. We got it right eventually. It can be difficult sometimes, and you've about 100 clubs to say in the one video, but Yeah, I think they'll have enough here, Ballyhale Shamrocks, surely. Surely they'll have enough with TJ Reid, Owen Cody, Owen Reid, Evan Shefflin in at fullback, um, Joey Holden, Colin Fennelly. Like they have an inter-county team in many ways. They all know each other so well. They've won all Irelands. They know how to play with each other. So I think Ballyhale Shamrocks will win it by 5 points. I think they'll have enough. And I think one thing that stands out as well is that when they've been up against the Kosh, against St. Rynagh's, against Mount Leinster Rangers, against O'Loughlin Gales, and even similarly in the 2020 Championship and in the 2019 All-Ireland Series, they found a way to win games, and that's what they do best. They find a way to win. They're good at changing their in-game tactics and finding a way to win matches. So I think no matter what Clough Ballacolla throw at them, I think Ballyhale Shamrocks will have enough to win it by 5. You've then got the Ulster Senior Hurling Championship Final. You've got Ballycran of Down going up against Slough of Derry. Both sides have won this competition 3 times each in their history. Slough last was in 2020, whereas Ballycran haven't won this since 1994. And a lot of Ballycran's Ulster Club Senior Hurling Championships came in the 60s, 70s and 80s. Obviously 3 times that they won it. But Slough, interestingly enough, have won this 3 in the last 4 years. And obviously there was no Ulster Club Senior Hurling Championship last year. So they're coming in with a lot of momentum. They're coming in with a lot of confidence. Obviously having beaten Dunloy in the semi-finals. And I suppose for Ballycran, look, I don't know a huge deal about them. So I did a bit of research into them. Stuart Keith and Connor Woods, 2 players who made it into the Joe McDonagh Cup Team of the Year with Down. And Down hurling has been on the rise. A lot of very good players coming through the ranks with Down at the minute. So look, I think they'll cause Slough a couple of problems. I think it might be low scoring, but you would expect Slough with the quality that they have, with the players that they have, and the experience that they have in winning these games, they should have enough. So I think Slough will win this. I don't know by how much, but they should have enough to win this by 4 or 5 points, I'd imagine. But anyway, lads, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Do let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the video. Let me know your predictions for this weekend's games, and let me know who you think will come out on top in a lot of these matchups. And if you do enjoy this type of content, do leave a like and subscribe. More videos coming out soon. Make sure you checked out the Donegal season preview that was out yesterday, and a number of match reactions that'll be out this weekend as well. So make sure you stay tuned for them. My name is Aaron, and I'll see you all on the next one.